Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Rob, and this is a video about ManyQuest. If you haven't seen it, my game is basically for anybody to play who can go onto YouTube, look at the video, and respond in the comments. So, we're ready to do another part of the first episode featuring Dirk Casterly, Last Bard Standing, and we are every week increasing the number of posts that we get. We are right now up to 4 posts, so we have 4 different people to consider, and 3 of them are prior contributors, so one of them was selected last time, the other 2 will have their vote strengthened because they were not selected last time. So we will go in reverse order. Last one in will come up last, so we'll see how this goes. Alright, so the first one that we will consider was from Neil Kammer, who posted 3 days ago. Dirk is backed up in the corner of a room that appears to have only one exit. He has his wits about him, preserved by the charity of the head guard on the other side of that exit. The creature before him has some intelligence. Does that intelligence transfer into speech? Or does it at least have any ability to communicate with beings other than himself? Killing a lonely creature, armed more poorly than Dirk is, seems a waste. If an attempt at communications fails, a fight may ensue, but Dirk would stand to be victorious nonetheless. Dirk understands that humor can be a powerful tool in creating bonds of friendship, and is a universal language as well. He will use this skill in the effort to enlist the services of the Gobmite as a guide and companion. Alright, well, there's a bit of prose for you. It's nice that he's showing the rationale. You know, this actually is kind of, if you think about it, this is how you can build character in the middle of a story rather than coming in with a backdrop of all the stuff that you decided happened before the character entered into the story and then just sticking to that. He's actually working to change the character, which I left intentionally as a fairly blank canvas, and giving him morality, basically, which is fine. The creature before him has some intelligence. Does that intelligence transfer into speech? Gobmites are not unknown to talk. As a matter of fact, those that brush up against different intelligent races tend to pick up the race's language. So most Gobmites in human land speak the local tongue, whatever that is. In this case, I believe it's Mordish. Does it at least have any ability to communicate with other beings? Probably. Killing a lonely creature. If an attempt at communication fails, a fight may ensue, but Dirk would stand to be victorious nonetheless. Have you seen what he's carrying? It's not a given, but no, Dirk has more experience than the Gobmite. He will probably win. Dirk understands that humor can be a powerful tool. He will use this skill. He will use this skill of humor. It would have been nice if, you know, you would have given me a lead into what he would say, but I'm fine with that. I can easily add that. So he wants to use humor, the humor skill. Which is rated at D6, so that is probably just as good as anything else that he can do, at least in likelihood. There aren't going to be any props that can help him though, so no gear dice, just a straight roll to see. If it works well, it could work very well if this is selected. Neil was the first person to put in a comment that we considered and was the driving storyline for part 2. He then posted a comment that was passed over last time, so his will be counted twice. Next comment from Lydia Halfling. Lydia is a fellow player of mine in one of my role-playing games in real life, so this is cool. While holding his dagger defensively, Dirk eyes up the Gobmite. He shuffles closer to the throne. Using his knowledge of history, he examines the throne, attempting to discover any secrets. Okay. again, being ready for the Godmite is good. Again, the lighting isn't very good. You are right next to the throne. So you will be allowed a roll. It's a little more difficult because it's not very well lit. So the difficulty goes up a little bit, but yeah, Dirk has a 1d6 in lore and history, so he may be able to get some clues off of the throne. Very good, Lydia. From Matthew Groyle, who is a player and fellow player in role-playing games of mine. No, I didn't threaten physical violence to make him post a comment yet. But he was nice enough to post, and he posted last week, so his vote will be counted twice. While keeping one eye on the gobbling, it's a Godmite, but that's fine. Dirk will search the walls for ways out. Okay. If he can communicate with the creature, then he will, using his socializing, humor, and maybe some coins to manipulate the Godmite. Perhaps, maybe he could be hired as a guide. Okay, so we're going to try with this one, socializing, using his wealth as a prop to try to get him to work with us. It's an interesting concept. He will not be able to use the D8 of his socializing skill because that has been spent already, but he can use a D6, which gives him a better chance than the four-sided die that he otherwise would have to use. So, and using the four-sided die of the gear die as wealth to try to bribe the Godmite is also, it's a sound strategy to prevent disaster, insulting the Godmite that it might attack him or something. So, and who knows, it might even help. So that one will be considered twice. And then finally, the Escapist Club. The person who was the last person selected for, he was part 3. So he will have count as one vote this time. Building up his credit again. Dirk will take one of the torches. There's only one torch, so he'll take that torch. Then he will use his socializing and a coin to attempt to befriend the Godmite. Again, similar lines to what Matthew chose. He'll tell it that he's on a quest and will share whatever riches he finds with it if it will guide him through the dungeon. Okay, very nice. If it agrees, he will let it lead, but be alert to treachery. If not, he will let it keep the coin and head off, going left whenever he comes to a branch in the corridor. Okay? So far, he hasn't found a way out yet. So that's kind of an issue. If it seems low-level hostile, he'll just say whatever and head off. If it seems threatening, he'll attack, but only to stun it, in which case he'll take its weapon. In any case, he will mark the wall as he goes. Okay. So, a few things here. And I corresponded with him about some of the shortcomings of the answer. Number one, there is no other way out. The door behind him shut and is probably locked. So it doesn't. You'd have to find some sort of a way out of this room. Number one. Number two is that he'll take the torch. Well, he hasn't seen how it's secured yet, so that might have a challenge to it. The guy might not be, pleased with him just walking around ignoring it, but he did suggest, treating with it. So, okay, that'll be his action, will be attempting to, I'm guessing, use his socializing skill. So I'll give him the D6 skill if this becomes selected. If it seems low-level hostile, he'll say whatever and head off. Again, he'll be avoiding it. And if it seems actually threatening, he'll attack. But to stun it, which, yeah, Godmites aren't too typical to rattle their brains. The butt of the weapon just... So that's perfectly doable. In that case, he'll be using the sword skill if that one fails. So I like the response because it's multi-layered. It's the if-then response worked well in computers, and it kind of works well for this because it's not. It'll allow us to take a little bit bigger bites at these episodes. And although I would prefer if responses are more of a response to the immediate situation instead of I then master the rest of the dungeon by going left. We're not there yet, and I will present the next section as it gets discovered. My response to him was the only problem being that there is no apparent way out, and his response back was then, well then, he will first check for secret doors. If he can't find one and the Godmite is not cooperative, then he'll have to scare it enough that it will have to reveal the way to escape him. Okay, so this, that's a pretty decent if-then for dealing with the relationship with the Godmite. Those are the 4 responses that I received. And in order that I received them, I have a 6-sided die. So, we'll do this in order. The first respondent was Neil. His votes are worth 2. So if I roll a 1 or a 2 on this, we'll go with Neil's suggestion. Lydia's first response is a result of a 3. Matthew's, since his counts as 2, would be a 4 and a 5. And the Escapist Club, being his vote being worth 1, would be a 6 if that comes up. So, well, let's cast the roll and find out what happens next, shall we? Alright, quick die roll. Let's find out what we do. The result is a 2. Congratulations, Neil. Your selection will be considered. Everyone else will get an extra consideration vote in our next episode of ManyQuest, should you continue to participate. Thank you very much. Okay, so just to respond to this, again, Neil's response is basically he's going to use humor to try to win the Godmite over to his side. And attempt to get the Godmite to help him out. So that is good. I would like to advise anybody who considers playing this that if you watch the video and you look through the comments and you see, oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's what I would have wanted to do. That's fine. But it's a better call for you, if that's the selection that you want to see, putting in your own comment in support of that. Saying, this is how I would do it. Maybe with a little different wrinkle. If you, see things a little bit differently. Or if you see, maybe a hole. The idea in general was good, but you want to do something slightly different. That actually is basically increasing your chances of the outcome you want to see happening. It also allows you to participate in the game so that if that comes up, then hey, that's still the outcome you wanted. If your vote gets selected, which is great, then you've participated and you get to see your take on it go. And if you get to a point where, okay, yours isn't selected, and you didn't get to see what you wanted, or maybe that other person's got selected and you did get to see what kind of you wanted to see anyhow, then that next time when people are going in a completely different direction and you really want to see this, that vote may count extra. So by all means, I'd recommend anybody who watches, if you have any interest at all in this, as far as I know is fairly unique on YouTube, please go ahead and comment, be a part of the game, and we can have a lot of fun together. Also, again, general plea goes out. If you think this is a cool idea, please let other people know. The more people that participate in it, it's called ManyQuest for a reason. I want a lot of people to see it and enjoy it. Yeah, it helps me out by encouraging me to continue, but I really do think this is something that could be special and have a lot of people enjoying a game together. Even if their voices are sometimes competing for control of the character, I think it could be a lot of fun, so that's why I keep doing it. So thank you for listening to me, and congratulations, Neil. I will be having that post up probably Monday with Dirk's new reactions. So thank you once again, and I will see you guys the next time I crawl in front of the internet, and the next time I make a ManyQuest post. Thanks, and farewell.